So when it comes to virtual communication, this pie chart that you see on your screen is very popular. It's also known as the 7-38-55 rule. Now, what does that mean? It basically tells us that words only account for 7% of our communication. 38% of our communication depends on our voice and our tone, and a whopping 55% of our communication actually depends on our body language. Now, hold on. What about virtual meetings? There is no body language involved in a virtual meeting, right? While it's true that virtual meetings or virtual communication in their current shape will never be as effective as a face-to-face meeting, however, in this video, I will share with you 4 simple tips which you can use to enhance your digital body language. My name is Jameel Hye, and I've been working in the corporate sector for the last 18 years, and my passion is to help you build real-life skills for your job and career that they don't teach you in college. The first tip is do not multitask. There is enough research now available to confirm that multitasking is basically an illusion. You're basically trying to fool yourself when you think that you are actually multitasking, because the human brain is simply not designed to multitask. There is a lot of research done now on this subject to prove that multitasking doesn't work. And one such research I would like to quote here is from the American Psychological Association, in which they have actually proved that when you are trying to multitask, you end up losing up to 40% of your productivity. Now, it actually gets even worse when you are in a virtual meeting. Imagine you are in the middle of a meeting where you're surrounded by a group of people and you are multitasking, which means that you're checking your emails or you are, checking your phone. It completely sends the wrong non-verbal cue or the wrong message. Now, the same rule applies to a virtual meeting as well. Now, I know it's highly tempting when you are working from home and you are in a meeting and you tend to multitask. But now that you know that you could potentially lose up to 40% of your productivity and you are also sending the wrong message to your participants, you may want to think differently about this one. Also, let me know in the comments on how you feel about multitasking and what has been your experience with it. Now, the second tip is use emojis and use them professionally. A lot of people think that emojis are not good to be used while you are communicating for office related work. Well, that's not true. There's a reason why Microsoft Teams came up with a pretty large directory of emojis when they recently launched their new software. Because when you are in a virtual environment and there isn't a lot of face-to-face interaction, emojis are a great way to communicate how you're feeling. Now, when I say use them professionally, what I mean is do not send messages like this, because this doesn't look professional at all, but you can use something like this, where you are using a combination of words and emojis, or you can use some other gestures too. Now, over here, I would also like to remind you that in Teams and some of the similar softwares, there are also some very useful virtual tools available, like virtual clapping or virtual thumbs up. And these are great tools to enhance your digital body language because they really help you in getting the point across on how you are feeling about certain things. Now, the third tip is use the camera in a way that it doesn't fatigue you. Now, this can be a very sensitive topic because according to a research published last year by Harvard Business Review, people who tend to use a camera in a virtual meeting are exposed to a higher degree of meeting fatigue, or something which is known as the Zoom fatigue these days. Now, that's totally understandable because if you know that your camera is on, you are definitely much more conscious. And imagine if you are sitting in a 3-hour or a 5-hour meeting with your camera on, definitely you would be much more drained as compared to if your camera was off. Now, that's where your smart use of the camera comes in. If you are doing a one-to-one meeting where you are probably also having an emotional conversation, it's always good to have the camera on so that you can read the emotions of the person on the other side of the camera. But if you're in a meeting with 10 or more people, then keeping the camera on all the time doesn't really help anyways. In this kind of a situation, what you could do is you can only switch on the camera when you are talking and then keep it on for the rest of the time. Or what you could also do is switch on your camera at the beginning of the meeting so that you are just saying your virtual hello to everyone. People can see your face. And then you can switch it on, because once you get into the crux of the meeting, the discussion is more about the content. So bottom line, camera is a great tool to enhance your digital body language, but use it to your advantage and use it in a way that it doesn't fatigue you. And the final tip is use humor intentionally. Eisenhower said that humor is a part of your leadership skills. It helps you get along with people and it also helps you get the job done. And therefore, humor can be a fantastic tool to engage with your virtual participants upfront. If you just start your Zoom or Teams meeting with a plain hello and then you get into the crux of it, these meetings, as we know, can get boring very quickly. But if you start by cracking a joke or telling a funny personal story, then you are engaging your participants upfront and your probability to get them engaged throughout the conversation is much higher. After all, laughter increases the human ability to manage pain by about 15%. So before those Zoom meetings get extremely painful, use laughter or humor because that can help you get through these meetings in a much more effective way. And it's a fantastic tool to once again enhance your digital body language. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have got any comments or questions about the content of this video or any of the other videos I've posted on this channel, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, or TikTok.